Inshallah, you're all doing well. I remind you to have a sincere intention when attending this lesson. Lillahi ta'ala. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. The Prophet, alayhi salatu wassalam, mentioned in a hadith, tasahharu fa inna fi sahuri barakah. It means to eat the sahur meal, for there is barakah in that. And in another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he said what means that it is better to delay eating the sahur until a time close to dawn. Now, if somebody does not want to eat food, even if you drink a little bit of water, a sip of water with the intention of sahur, this is sunnah, this is rewardable, good to do. And in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned what means that it is better to delay the sahur time until a time close to dawn. But of course, before dawn, okay, when the person is sure that dawn is not in yet. For you know, the fasting day starts when dawn starts with al-fajr. So when fajr time, dawn is in, the fasting person does not eat or drink anything anymore until sunset, until Maghrib time. I want here to warn you about something that I've noticed has been circulating among some people these past days. And that is that some claim that if you have something in your hand, they claim that you can still eat or drink even though the dawn is in, but because you have it in your hand. And this is not the case. What the scholar said is that if the person had food in his mouth and the adhan, the call of the prayer for the fajr, has started, meaning for sure dawn is in, then the person needs to take that out of his mouth. Otherwise, if he swallows it after dawn has set in, it means this person ate during fasting day. So the person would need to take that food out of his mouth when dawn is in. He does not swallow it. Some people say that there is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in which they say that the Prophet ﷺ said that if one of you has like a cup with water in his hand and he hears the adhan call, they say that the Prophet said to drink what he needs from that. Some scholars said that this hadith is not authentic. And those scholars who took by this hadith, they said it means that this is not the call for the fajr, for the dawn. Rather, it is before that. You know how in some countries they call before the dawn time? Some do that in some countries, like a warning for people to stop eating and drinking because it's getting close to dawn. But it doesn't mean that you cannot eat anymore. No, because it's not dawn time yet. It's not fajr yet. Fajr is not in yet. So you could still drink. So those scholars who took by this hadith, they said that this is referring to the call which is before dawn. In this case, if you have still a cup of water in your hand and you can drink from it, yeah, because dawn is not in yet. But if you are sure that this is the call, the adhan for fajr, for dawn, then even if you have a cup of water in your hand, you don't drink anymore when you are sure that this call is the call for the dawn prayer. Because that means one needs to start fasting. One does not eat or drink anymore when dawn is in and one wants to fast. Okay, so mention that because it seems that some people are spreading that, and one needs to be really cautious about this. You know, you want to fast and you want your fasting to be valid. Yesterday in our lesson, we were talking about some of the matters that our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ mentioned, and we said that the Prophet ﷺ was truthful in everything that he conveyed from Allah Ta'ala. So we said that the Prophet ﷺ told us about the bridge which extends over hellfire. The Prophet ﷺ also told us about the basin, in Arabic referred to as al-hawd. And every prophet has a basin from which his nation drinks before entering paradise. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, of course, has a basin for his ummah, for his nation to drink from before they enter paradise. And afterwards, after the Muslims drink from that basin, then when they enter paradise, they do not feel thirst anymore. Okay? So if somebody asks you, why do they then drink in paradise? They drink out of enjoyment, not out of the feeling of thirst. You know, in paradise, there is no uncomfortable feeling. There is everlasting enjoyment. May Allah Ta'ala grant me and you to enter paradise without torture. In paradise, there is everlasting enjoyment. So the people in paradise, they drink out of enjoyment, not because they feel thirsty. No. So every nation then will drink from the basin of their prophet, and the nation of Prophet Muhammad والسلام, they will drink from the basin of Prophet Muhammad والسلام. Also among the things that the Prophet ﷺ told us about is the intercession, ash-shafa'ah. And the intercessors, they, in the hereafter, they ask Allah Ta'ala to absolve some Muslim sinners from punishment. And among this shafa'ah is that some people, because of that, they will not enter hellfire first, even though they deserved to first enter hellfire before paradise, but because of the intercession, because of the shafa'ah, they do not. And some might leave hellfire before the time that they deserve to stay in it. Remember, we said that there are some Muslims who committed enormous sins and died without repenting, and those whom Allah does not forgive. We said that they enter hellfire for a period of time first before paradise. The Prophet ﷺ also told us about paradise and hellfire. Paradise is the abode of everlasting enjoyment. Muslims are the ones who enter paradise, and they remain in it forever. Now, Muslims are of levels. Of course, you know, there are those who were pious, atqiya, there were those who were awliya, and there were, of course, the prophets, alayhimus salam. So the Muslims are of levels in paradise. But for everyone, there is everlasting enjoyment, no pain, no sadness, no sickness, no calamities, no envy, no arrogance, everlasting enjoyment. And the Prophet ﷺ told us about hellfire, which is the place for torture. And the kuffar, the non-Muslims, the disbelievers who enter hellfire, they remain there forever. They will not come out of hellfire whatsoever. They will remain there forever, and they will feel torture forever. Subhanallah. And Allah Ta'ala is just in what He does. He does with His slaves as He wills. He is our owner, and He does with what He owns, what He wills, and He is just in what He does. No objection to the will of Allah Ta'ala. Now I'm going to tell you about the greatest enjoyment for the people in paradise. You know, in our previous lessons, and of course, we talked about the basics of the Muslims' belief, which is that Allah Ta'ala is not like His creation at all. So Allah is not attributed with having a body, nor any body parts, and Allah Ta'ala exists without a place as He did before creating all places and directions. And our Lord does not change. So after creating places and directions, including the skies and the throne, God exists without a place. He does not change. He is not in the sky. He does not occupy any place or direction. Now, what is this greatest enjoyment for the people of paradise? It is that they will see Allah Ta'ala without Him being in a place. They will be in a place, they will be in paradise. But Allah exists without a place. So Allah Ta'ala will enable them to see the being of Allah without Him being in a place or a direction, unlike the creation is seen. For if you were in front of me now, I would see you in a direction. You would be either in front of me, to my right, to my left, or behind me. There would be a direction. And there would be a distance between us. But when Muslims see Allah Ta'ala, it is not like that. For Allah is not in a direction. He is not in a place. Okay? So they see Allah who is not like any of the creation. Okay? So we do not imagine Allah, because whatever we imagine in our minds is created. Anything, try to imagine something now, it is created as a shape or a form or a size or a color. So Allah Ta'ala is not imagined in the mind. Muslims, while they are in paradise, they will be able to see Allah Ta'ala, who is not in paradise, who exists without a place. They will see Him without a how. So we do not ask how, because how is a question about created things. So without a how, without the connotation of how, they will see Allah Ta'ala unlike the creation is seen. Okay? He is without a place and without a direction. And the Prophet ﷺ told us about the honorable angels. And as we said, the angels, they are created from light. Their number is numerous, a lot more than humans, a lot more than jinn. Okay, so their number is very, very great, very big in number. They are created from light. They are all Muslims. They are obedient slaves. They do what Allah Ta'ala orders them with, and they never disobey the orders of Allah. The angels, my brothers and sisters in Islam, the angels are not males and are not females. So they do not reproduce. They do not have children. Okay? Allah Ta'ala created them, and they are many, many, many in number, and they do not have children. They do not eat nor drink. They do not sleep. Okay? So they are not like the humans. So they are not females and not males. They do not drink, they do not eat, they do not sleep. They always obey Allah Ta'ala, and they have specific tasks that they do. There are angels who are in charge of bringing down the rain. There are angels who are in charge, as you know, of recording the deeds. One in charge of the good deeds, one in charge of the bad deeds. You know, there are angels who will question the person when he is back in the grave from the nation of Prophet Muhammad. So they have different tasks. There are angels who are in charge of protecting the Muslim. You know, after now that we have said that the angels are not males and not females, then I advise you here, if you have young siblings, young children, do teach them that. So they do not draw, you know, a little girl with wings and they say that this is an angel. No, because you know that the angels are not females. So we don't draw little girls with wings and say that these are angels, okay? Because unfortunately in some schools they do that. And subhanAllah, it is very, very important that we teach our children at a young age the matters of the religion to protect them. Because in many schools nowadays, unfortunately, they're teaching children many things that contradict the belief of Islam, many things. And it seems that it is increasing with time. You know, before in the past, there were some things that, some sins that some people did, but they did them in hiding. They were ashamed to show that in public, to show themselves performing particular sins in public. So they did that in hiding. Yet, unfortunately, nowadays, many people publicly commit sins. And some people say that this is among the freedoms. And they're teaching that to many children at schools. So, and you know that our children go to different kinds of schools, and they are not all taught by Muslim teachers who fear Allah. So, if you are a parent, you need to take an active role and teach your children to protect them. Subhanallah. Yes, so it's very, very important that we teach our young children to protect them from lots of the misguidance that is spreading in schools and on social media. And you know, nowadays, how will you protect your children from social media? You know, they are often getting assignments to do. And these assignments might include researching particular topics on the internet. So they might need access to the internet. But nevertheless, if you're a parent, you have a role, and you have an important role to play. Even if you allow your child to access the internet, you need to be very vigilant and careful about where they're going. I think you know, as I have noticed, that sometimes you would be sitting with your child and allowing them to watch something supposedly for young children, yet there are these ads that pop up that are so inappropriate. Subhanallah, you know, the kuffar try in different ways, in so many different ways and tactics and methods in order to misguide people. So we need to be very vigilant and proactive in protecting ourselves with the knowledge of the religion, and protecting our loved ones as well by teaching them the knowledge of the religion. Do not ignore that. So the Prophet ﷺ told us about the angels, and we also have to believe in the books, meaning the revealed books. Allah Ta'ala revealed books, and their number was many, okay? But among these were 4 that were the most famous, okay? And these were Az-Zabur, the true Torah, and the true original Injil, the Torah that was revealed to Prophet Musa alayhi salam, the true one, not what the Jews have today and they claim that it is the Torah. No, this is not the original Torah that was revealed to Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And among the books was also the true original Injil that was revealed to Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Again, this is not what the Christians say today, the Bible. No, this was altered. And you know that they know that themselves. Subhanallah, many Christians know themselves that it was altered and changed over the years. So the original Injil was revealed to Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Some people refer to him as Jesus. And the Quran that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, which is the last of the revealed books and the best of the revealed books. And it was mentioned that the Quran will not be altered. It will not be changed. So we have to believe in the revealed books. And the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam also told us to believe in al-qadr, the predestination. Okay, the predestination, al-qadr. And we have to believe that Allah Ta'ala predestined for things to happen. Now, brothers and sisters, I want you here to listen very attentively about this detail that I will mention right now. Allah Ta'ala predestined things to happen. So everything happens according to the eternal predestining of Allah. Now, the attribute of Allah, the predestining of Allah is the attribute. This is a perfect attribute, as all the attributes of Allah. They are attributes of perfection that do not change. So, Allah Ta'ala predestined for things to happen. Among the predestined things, meaning the created things, okay? Now I'm talking about the created things, the predestined things that are created. Among the predestined things, there are those that are good and there are those that are bad. Zabur. Zabur, inshallah, I will write it later on in the group, but Zabur that was revealed to Prophet Dawood. So, the predestined things, okay, the created thing, among these, there are good things and there are bad things. God predestined both, okay? Allah Ta'ala predestined both, the good and the bad. As for the attribute of Allah, this is an attribute of perfection. However, the created thing, the predestined thing, among it is what is good and among it is what is bad. And Allah predestined both. Remember, we said in our previous lessons that Allah Ta'ala created both good and bad. He created what is good and He created evil. We said that Allah Ta'ala created the devil, and the devil is for sure not good. But who created him? Allah. Allah created him, okay? So Allah Ta'ala predestined for both good and bad. When the person commits what is bad, then this is not good, okay? As for Allah predestining the good and the bad, we do not object to that. If a person is accountable and he commits a sin, we object to that person committing the sin because he is not to do that. But as to Allah Ta'ala predestining the good and the bad, there's absolutely no objection to Allah Ta'ala. Okay? And we have to believe that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam was the last of the messengers of Allah and the best of them all. Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, he is the last of the messengers and he is the best of all the creation of Allah. So he is the best of all the prophets, but of all the creation of Allah. So for sure then the Muslim has great love in his heart for the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And when we love this person, this Prophet so much, then we need to imitate him in his behavior, in how he lived, in his manners, in his teachings. We need to strive and do that. You know, when sometimes you have somebody among your family members who you really care about, and with time you notice that your actions start becoming similar to that person. But when we know that Prophet Muhammad والسلام, is so dear and beloved to our hearts, he is the one who we need to imitate and follow his teachings, his guidance. Okay, his guidance is the proper guidance. Whatever is opposite to that, we don't go by that. Whether, you know, it's some people teach that at school, scientists claim to say, if that is opposite to the guidance of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, then we don't take that. Put that away and you follow the teachings, the guidance of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. Okay? For his manners are the great manners. So the Prophet alayhi salam told us that the first of all the messengers is Prophet Adam, alayhi salam, and then came many other prophets, and Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is the last and the best of all the prophets of Allah Ta'ala. And we said that all of them came with the religion of Islam. Okay, all of them said no one is God except Allah. And Prophet Isa alayhi salam, he told his followers that there will be another prophet coming after him, meaning Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, who is the last. So there is no person that will receive revelation who did not receive revelation before and will receive it after Prophet Muhammad. No. As for Prophet Isa, we said that he is still alive, but he was before. He was a messenger before, meaning he received the revelation before Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam. He came before Prophet Muhammad. Okay? So one also has to believe that every prophet of Allah Ta'ala is attributed with specific attributes. And this is very important to know. What are the attributes that befit to be attributes of the prophets, and what are attributes that do not befit to be attributed to the prophets? Let us then start by talking about the attributes of the prophets, of all the prophets of Allah Ta'ala. Among these attributes is that they are all truthful. They never lie. All prophets are truthful. They never lie. Okay? Not even when joking. Okay? And they are all trustworthy. So they never cheat. They do not betray people. They are all trustworthy. And they are all intelligent. So there was no prophet who was dull or did not understand right away. No. Allah Ta'ala sent the prophets to guide people, to guide them to what benefits them in their hereafter. So all the prophets then were intelligent. This means then it is impossible for any prophet to lie. This does not happen from them. Also, they are all, as we said, honest. And foolishness is impossible to be among their attributes. There was no prophet who was foolish, who was careless, who was silly. No, not whatsoever. And they were all courageous. All of them were courageous. Now, the prophets, they are protected from kufr, so they never commit kufr, blasphemy. Not before receiving the revelation, not before they became prophets, and not after, okay? So prophets had the proper belief in Allah before they received the revelation. This is very important to understand. All prophets are courageous, okay? All of them are courageous. So they all have the proper belief, even before receiving prophethood, before receiving revelation, they had the proper belief in Allah, okay? So they are protected from committing kufr, for prophethood and after. So when I tell you this, for sure then, there was no prophet who worshipped idols. Not at all. So be warned about some fabricated stories about many prophets, subhanAllah, and there are many of these. And the person who did not learn the personal obligatory knowledge of the religion, they might fall into that. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam never worshipped idols, never. And this is one of the things that some people fabricate about Prophet Ibrahim. They claim that he worshipped the sun or the moon or I don't know what. No, Prophet Ibrahim, as all prophets, worshipped only Allah Ta'ala. And remember, when we we mentioned in our previous lessons, and I told you that the verses of the Quran, not anybody interprets them. So just because somebody knows how to speak Arabic and read Arabic, it doesn't mean that this person is qualified to interpret the verses of the Quran. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he said هذا ربي about the sun, this is not to say, to affirm that this is his Lord. No, this is in objection. The scholars said that this means it is objecting to those people who were worshiping it. He said that in objection, meaning this does not deserve to be worshipped. It moves, it comes and it goes. It does not deserve to be worshipped. It is created. It changes. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam was trying to tell his people, to show them that these idols that they worshipped, or the sun or the moon, do not deserve to be worshipped. So when he said هذا ربي, this is in negation, not affirming, in negation. So here I advise you again, brothers and sisters, do not interpret verses on your own. Even if you have learned the recitation of a verse, okay, you've learned it from trustworthy, knowledgeable people, good. Read it with a sincere intention, but do not interpret it on your own. Just because now you know how to read it and you learn the proper recitation from a trustworthy, knowledgeable person, it does not mean you are qualified to give the meaning of it, even if you are a native Arabic speaker. No, you come across verses, you say they have a befitting meaning. Okay, for sure, as we said, the verses of the Quran do not contradict each other. And the Prophet alayhi salam, his teachings do not contradict the Quran. So when we know that all prophets came with Islam, that all prophets are protected from kufr, for sure, none of the prophets worshipped idols. So if you come across a verse where it tells you, where Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam said, هذا ربي, you say it has a meaning that for sure is befitting. Later, you ask somebody trustworthy, knowledgeable, for the meaning of the verse, but you do not interpret it on your own, because you might fall into misguidance. You might fall into misguidance, as some people did when they interpreted on their own. Okay? The prophets are also protected from enormous sins, kaba'ir. This does not happen from them. And inshallah, in our next lesson, we will give some examples of enormous sins, and I will mention some of these fabricated stories that are told by some people about the prophets, which you should be warned against and warn others against as well. So the Muslim believes that prophets are protected from kufr before prophethood and after, and also from the enormous sins. This does not happen from them, and from the small, mean sins, such as stealing even one piece of grape. This does not happen from a prophet. They're also protected from small, mean sins. Inshallah, tomorrow we will talk more about this matter. And Allah Ta'ala knows best.